Hello YouTube and Mustang fanatics. Welcome to the House of Dula. Welcome to my garage. I am Mike Dula. I'm glad to have you here because today we are installing subframe connectors on my 1979 Mustang Coupe Project EgoBruise. So stay tuned. So this Sunday morning we have Project EgoBruise here. It's lifted up, it's ready to go. It's hot outside. I had the garage closed. It's the middle of summertime in Texas and it is 91 in here, which is cold to me. So we are keeping the garage closed because the sun is beating on this right now. If we open it up, it will be 100 in here within an hour. So we're gonna work on the garage just like this, and yeah, it works. So guys, this is my project. If you're not familiar with the project, this is 1979. This is a 1979 Mustang Coupe, of course. We call this Project EgoBruise because it is receiving an EcoBoost motor from a 2015/16 Mustang. And the last time you guys saw me, it's been a while. We got the ESR wheels forged. We got them mounted. They clear the Brembos just by a tiny bit, but I've got a little spacer we'll probably put on there by the end of the video. And we pulled the gas tank. So we have a new gas tank to put in. We're going to be doing some work on that back in piece and then start getting work on the axle. But right now what I need to do is get the subframe connectors on and welded in so that I can get a cross member made for the T5 that is behind this little EcoBoost motor. So what we're going to do is just weld straight to the subframe connectors and make it removable, but weld it. So I believe Stifler's, I think, makes a universal weld-on cross member specifically for T5 slash subframe connectors. So we'll probably reach out to them and see if they can help me out with a subframe connector. Otherwise we'll just have to make one. Not a big deal. But what we got here is a Maximum Motorsport subframe connector. Okay, so this guy is, guys, this is the quintessential subframe connector. Everyone runs these as far as I know. There's 1,000 people who make connectors just like this, but I tend to find that the Maximum Motorsport ones are a little bit thicker steel and a little bit better made. The end caps are fully welded. They put a vent hole there for welding so that it doesn't blow out your welds. Very thick top plates here along the bends and thick side plates. So the supports themselves are really thick. It's really well made. These have been sitting on my bench for a while, so I need to sand them down. And we need to put a coat on the top, just some black paint here because we don't get a lot of rust here. I'm not driving this thing here in Texas in the the ocean or nothing like that, so don't have salty roads, don't have a problem with rust. But that being said, I still want to protect it. But this is running the same subframe. There it is right there, same subframe connectors. But what's cool is it ties in the seats. Oh yeah, the seat mounts straight to the subframe connector, so you really feel planted. This car, and I've seen videos on this before, I can lift up right here on the front, and the back wheel will easily lift up on it, no problem. Like the whole car just doesn't have really much twist at all. Even on the T-tops, very stiff. So these will stiffen up your ride significantly, putting more power into your four corners here. Okay, as you turn, less deflection in the car, more power to the wheels. There's just everything good about them. If you do one mod on your Mustang and nothing else, put a set of subframe connectors on it, you will not be disappointed. I promise you, they're great. So looking on the Maximum Motorsports manual, they say, and I like to have all four of wheels on the ground or on being supported by its own weight. I did this the same way on my 86. I supported the rear axle on its springs, of course, or supported the rear axle with jack stands, and then put the front tires on something to help lift it up. But right now the front weight is just strictly sitting on a brake drum that I've got sitting underneath the front tires to hold the weight up. And I've got the back here on a jack stand, so the weight is supported on the suspension, which is what you want. Now I don't know about the doors. They don't say specifically if you have doors or not. This to me is not going to be a big deal at all because the door itself isn't supporting the structure of the shell. What it is doing, of course, is providing protection and a lot of extra weight on the hinges because the doors are very heavy and all that weight is sitting right here onto your your quarter panel. So I'll be honest, I do have a subframe connector install video on this one. The reason I want to show you guys is because I want to bring you along with this build, but also because the 79 in itself is unique. So as you can see here on my 79, the transmission cross member mount overlaps along the subframe frame rail. So on my 86 and probably on 83 and up, I'm guessing the transmission cross member mount is much wider and doesn't overlap on the floor. It's welded straight to the floor itself and kind of doesn't just overlap here. So what we have here is a section that needs to be cut out. So then I'm not going to be using this mount. I'm going to be going universal. What we should do to do this properly is cut the whole thing out. Now to do this, we would have to do all the spot welds. We got 2 here. Looks like we got one heavy one up here on the floor, and we got a couple here. Where's it at? Up here, right there. So you got some going straight to the floor, 2 right here on the subframe. So really, to do this properly, we need to cut this out. Another thing we could do though is just cut it right here and then drill these 2 out just to get this plate off, just to make enough room for the subframe connector itself. Man, I think I'm just going to do it right and remove the pocket altogether. And then we just need to go ahead and get these outside and get a coat of paint on the top of them. Let those dry while I spend the time down here grinding these pockets out. Man, yeah, it's that hot outside. I was only out there just for a minute. I'm covered in sweat. It's hot. Hey, listen, you like this shirt? Check this out. This is my shirt from Fox Fest. Okay, this is actually a rendering and drawing I created from the 86. It's pretty cool. It's got the Texas license plate on the back, and this is a tri-blend, high-quality t-shirt that I had made at a local company here. It's real screen print. It's not, computer printed. This is actual screen print. It's gonna last a long time, and it's a super soft, comfortable shirt. If you like it, go get you one on houseofdulo.com. Guys, I stock them in-house right here, so if you like it, I'll ship you one to your house. All right, just gonna let these guys dry. Got the fan going here. What I'm doing here is I'm locating the spot weld. So on this car, it's a lot more than what I was pointing out underneath it, but I've located it. It's here. You've got 4 of them right here, and you've got 4 of them on the flat part of the floor right here, and then you've got, yes, another 4 connecting to the actual channel itself on the bottom. So the actual frame rail, part of the subframe. So what we got to do is drill all these out, get that pocket out. So I got to do this on both sides. Luckily, I'm going to do it for the top just to save my energy a little bit. Drill them out so there will be holes in the floor. We'll weld it back. No big deal. Got, hopefully you can see that. I'm up in here. But anyways, got those 2 drilled out. All right, let's see if we can pop this thing off now. Son of a bitch. You guys know, you know me by now. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I just mutilated my floor. So at least I do this before you do it. And most guys who've done this before are probably thinking themselves, don't do it this way. Don't do it this way, okay? Just cut it off and leave the bracket there. That's what I'm gonna do on the other side. This took me 2 hours and completely killed my floor. Guys, look at the spot welds, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 spot welds on this. And I ended up having to use an air hammer to get it to come off. And I ended up peeling the floor down, tearing through the floor right there. Most guys would edit this out and not show you, but it's the reality of it. I mean, it's what I just did. It's fine. I'll fix it. But what a mess I just made. Man, that is not the right way of going about doing this. So I really jacked up the floor. I'm embarrassed to show y'all that. It's a hack job by far. Just thought it'd be some easy spot welds, pop it off, but no, I mean, it's spot welded through 2 or 3 sheets of metal sandwiched between your your frame rail on the subframe connector. So if I knew there was that many in there, what had happened is I started drilling them out the ones I could see, and then realized it's not going anywhere. Started finding other ones, drilling those out, peeling them off, and it's just one thing left that I know. I couldn't get it off at all. I don't know if one spot weld was still holding. To make everything worse, I don't have a lift. I don't have a shop. I'm in a garage. I'm old. I'm getting older, guys. I'm on my back. You know, I don't have a good back to begin with. My back is kind of jacked up anyways, and here I am underneath this thing. So I'm not complaining. This is part of it. You will always find struggles, and you will always find setbacks. In this case, just a simple subframe connector install has a setback because now I gotta fix and repair the floor before I put the subframe connectors on. This side over here, I'm just gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it and grind it off. I'm gonna stop, take a break. I'm hot. Get some water, wash up a little bit, maybe grab lunch with my son, come back and start tackling the floor. Okay, my garage is heating up. It's probably 98 in here, so I'm trying to get at least one side done today. The fan helps tremendously, but it is, I think it shows 95 over there by the door, but it's much warmer over here in the garage than it is over there by the door. So what you need to do here, get yourself a Sharpie or some other writing utensil so you can mark where we need to clean off the area. There we go. Okay, now we can put pressure on it. Man, look how nice that fits. Look at that. I mean, we've only got just a credit card, if that, gap back there, but look how straight it is. Look how well these things fit. And it has a nice divot right here for your drain, so that's cool. So this looks really good. I'm liking the placement of it here. I like the place of it back there along the back. It's not interfering with anything. This is a vent line for the gas tank. We'll pop that out and remove it just until we get done welding it. But right now, all I'm gonna do is take our marker, our Sharpie, and put a kind of a mark around everything that I would like to clean up, like that. The next thing, I would like to get one connector on today, but the next thing we need to do is put the studs in. So the way the connector is sitting up right now, I've got the connections are where it's going to weld. Ground clean, we got bare metal on the front and the middle and the back of it. As you can see, again, it fits almost perfectly. I don't think we're going to have to do much here, but we had to get the studs out. So the rear seat bolts right here, there's a studs that go through the floor. They are actually, if you look at it here, oh yeah, so they're actually screwed into these brackets here. So these are your seat brackets here. We got one here on the course on both sides. Those studs need to come out. Now this is going to be interesting because these are pretty rusty and they're not in the worst shape, but I've seen better. And these are common to rust right here, especially being in the low spot of the car, especially if you've got T-tops. But anywhere that sits in the floorboards will typically kind of sit around this area anyways. If you get any moisture in, spills from cups and stuff like that, kind of run down the carpets. And what they'll do is they'll get here, of course, and rust these bolts out. So these are studs. The best way to get these off is to double nut them and twist them out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to twist these studs out so that we can put the bolts in. The bolts will extend through longer than these. So basically, they're set longer to stick through the floor, and that's where your brackets will sit into. These cradles here will go into each part of the bracket. So your seat mounts will go here and to there, and then we'll weld these guys to the subframe connectors once they're all in place. But they want to make sure you put this in place first and bolt the seat down so that this is in spot, and it's got some adjustments. See how it's kind of notched here? So you can adjust it like this to fit your subframe connector and then weld it all in. Man, just look how good these floors are in. I know a lot of you are jealous right now because you don't have a floor that looks like mine. Sorry, but anyways, so we got two nuts here. We're gonna spin them on. We are going to lock these guys together. Okay, that was actually pretty easy. All right, guys, second problem that is unique to the early style 4-eyed cars. Let me show you. What we got here is actually a different bolt size. The rear seat bolts, these are 10mm bolts that they give you from Maximum Motorsports. This is clearly a 3/8 16 pitch, and the bolts that came out of it are 3/8. So they were dirty. I chased them. The chaser fit perfectly. It wasn't hard to go in. I wasn't grinding it. And now that they're chased, the original bolt goes back in just nice and smooth, flawlessly, like it should. Okay, it's perfect. All right. Well, I have to look at them. They look identical to me, but I actually brought up the manual again and started digging and looking really closely, and it's sure as hell the 10mm is just slightly larger than the 3/8. It's not by much. So what that means is I got to go to the hardware store. The ones that Maximum Motorsports supplies for you does not fit in my 79. I went ahead and got these. Now here's the difference here. These are a little bit longer. I think they'll be okay, but they do have a collar there, so obviously it's going to stop there. The seat bracket will be there. We'll probably have to double up on the washers whenever we install these. Kind of to simulate the seat and carpet thickness and everything else, because you know this is going to be on the carpet. You're going to have washers on the top of this. Anyways, and of course the seat bracket itself is pretty thick. So, oh, look at that, it fits. Amazing. Amazing how that works. There we go. See, it's learning. It's teaching itself. Okay. Now, we want to make sure that there's no binding here, and it looks pretty good. Let me take some pressure off the car. All right. Man, I think that's perfect. Oh, looks like this is how it's supposed to go, guys. We've got the Maximum Motorsports logo here on the back. We have the right angle of this bar. We have a perfect gap. This stud is going straight into the center. So it's going straight to the center here, so that means it looks pretty good. Man, this is fitting up nice. Look how well this fits. So it's pretty good. So yeah, we got a gap back there. That's normal. I had that same issue on my 86. Once you get the front welded, you get these two welded, and then you can kind of use a jack and just put some pressure on the back end. The manual says you can bend them, so you can take them here and bend them. Now I technically bent it by using a jack on the back side of it. And I can tell you right now, once this part's welded up front, it'd be very easy to go ahead and just put some pressure with a jack on this back end to close that gap right there. Once that gap is closed, then we can weld everything fully around, including the seat bracket here. Man, I almost forgot to put a coat on the top here. Just this coat just to cover the top. Because of course, once this is in, there's no getting this back down. It's gonna be welded up to the floor. All right, man, it's time to burn this thing in. So it looks good. I got everything placed exactly where I want it. The seat bracket is good. Everything is ground down. We're gonna tack it in place. Maximum Motorsports says to tack in the seat bracket first. So we will do that. And then we'll tack along here, along the front on both sides, and check everything and close this gap. Close this gap and then tack that in, of course. And then we'll burn it in. Burn it in. All right, it's been a couple of weeks, and listen, the weather's changed. It has gotten cooler outside, a little bit cooler, and I mean cooler like it's 95 right now, but to me, it's way cooler, completely doable. Guys, it has just been way too hot. So I had to stop. Listen, after that monstrosity of a mess that I made welding in the passenger side subframe connector, it was horrible. It's embarrassing to even show the results of that on camera, but nonetheless, it's been patched up. The floor's been patched up, and we're going to do the driver's side a little bit differently. But hey, sometimes you just got to stop and recollect yourself, which is what I had to do. That kind of ticked me off, and I needed to just recollect myself. So what I did here, I've kind of just got the car out, got the blue car out, but I've done a few things. I haven't been doing nothing. So I took a break from the subframe connectors because that side was monstrosity. But as you can see here, you're like, what are those seats, Mike? Where'd those come from? Man, these are, well, you can see what they are. They are red GT seats, okay? So I'm gonna get them recovered, don't worry. But I wanted GT seats in these. I wanted, you know, the 86 style seats here because I wanted to be able to recline this back. Now, these came from a convertible, as you can tell here. So they got the clips on it. This came from an 86 convertible GT. Came from my buddy's car. See, the original 79 seats are there. Those are a fixed back. You can't recline them. And of course, these, you know, you can recline. They're way more adjustable, way more comfortable. And also, yes, they gave me an excuse to use my red netted halos. So I got the red netted halos. This seat is completely faded out. And we've got, you know, this seat here. So they're in great shape. I mean, absolutely phenomenal shape. There is no rust on them. They're solid. They're not bent. You can see the foam is really good. So these are great seats. So I'm probably going to get them recovered. I got a little surprise for you guys on what I'm choosing to recover them with and the style. I'm going to tell you one thing is I like the vinyl, okay? I don't like the cloth. The cloth reminds me of my 86 in a good way, but I want this car again to be different. I just don't want cloth in this. I would prefer vinyl or leather or something to that degree. So anyway, so I got these seats in. I wanted to test fit them, so I did that. I got a test fitted. This one's obviously not completely bolted down, nice and wobbly like. But also wanted to get the headrest put on. I was gonna make a video showing you how to pull the halos. These came with the standard red halos, and to put these on. But there's other videos out there on YouTube now, plenty of them out there already that's showing you how to do this. There was just no need for me to duplicate content, so I didn't do that. We're about to put on the driver's side subframe connector. Let me show you what I've done down here. Taking a different approach, okay? Instead of drilling out the spot welds, let's see if I get it here. All right, instead of drilling out the spot welds and removing this whole bracket here, guys, listen, this is so much smarter. I just cut it off with a cut-off wheel, spend some time cutting it off, and then just spend some time grinding it down. I'm gonna grind it down. I'll probably grind this down a little bit flatter, but for me, it's fine. As long as that doesn't get in the way, the cross member. But this is smooth, and clearly nothing's been tore up. So save your time. If you're removing your brackets, don't do what I did over there and puncture the floor, jack it all up. What you do is just grind it off, cut it off and grind it off like this. So anyways, now we have a nice clean area to start prepping for the driver's side. Yeah. doing things on the floor, on your back, in tight quarters, and trying to weld when you're 43, it's not as easy as it used to be, man. This is why people make lifts. Damn. But it's on. All right, guys, that is a wrap. Hey, listen, if one video can like basically summarize an entire project or encapsulate an entire project, I think it'd have to be this video, because, I mean, you have your ups, you have your downs. If you notice, you go back in the video and like the first half of it, you really see I was kind of struggling, having a really hard time, just having problems. But then I come later, I set things aside. In fact, like I said before, I kind of just reset my mind, my state of mind. Got the car out, much cooler weather, it was a lot nicer, and I did this size and it just went perfectly smooth. So you can almost feel it, you can almost see it in the video. You know, you can almost feel the struggle in the first half, but the second half was just, you know, just complete breeze. And if anything doesn't summarize an entire project like this one video, I don't know what does, because this really is what it's like working on, you know, an entire project car. You've got your ups, you got your downs, you got your good days, you got your bad days, you've got hot days, you've got cool days, you've got, you know, not the right equipment, not the lift, not the right place to work on it. But, you know, the fact is you just keep grinding. You got to keep at it, man. You got to just put your head down, focus on one little piece at a time. I say that all the time. You got to find something on the car, and that is the project, not the whole car. You know, subframe connector, that's the project for however long it takes. Fuel system, electrical, whatever. So you just micro focus on little things as little projects, and next thing you know, the car will get built, I promise. Just keep grinding at it. But hey, listen, I hope you liked the content. I think they turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. The car is going to be much stiffer now. And remember, this is not for everybody. Of course, if you want to keep your cross member, don't do what I did and cut them out. For me, it's unique because I know I have to have a universal cross member. They make one for T5 that allows me to place a cross member between subframe connectors and use a subframe connector as its mount. So that's what we're going with on this car. And it's pretty unique to this build because of the placement of the T5 with the EgoBruise motor. So it's not for everybody. This is a how-to per se, just taking you along in the build. Hey, if you like the content, man, go to my Instagram. You can check that out if you want. Or you can just go to houseofdulo.com, and on the bottom you've got my Instagram feed. You've got all the latest videos, and you've got you know, a place to buy the shirts and stuff and the merchandise and whatever. So that's kind of cool. And you also have access to the Facebook page. There's a House of Dulo Facebook page that gets posted up every once in a while. So hey, that's it. Hey, I hope you guys have a great one. Keep grinding on your Foxes. I got a lot more content coming, and I mean that for real. We've got an AC video coming out really soon. It's already been shot. I got to edit it. We've got the rear suspension coming. I got the gas tank we got to get installed. Of course, the cross member, we're going to install that. Everything. A lot going on. I've already ran some more electrical. I don't want to show y'all yet, but it's ran. I got a really good placement for some of the harness, and there's a lot of content coming now that it's getting cooler, and now that I'm ecstatic about this car and getting it built. I think things are going to go a little bit quicker, and you're going to get more content out of it. So thank y'all for being patient. I appreciate that. I really do. We'll see you next time. Hey, keep wrenching on your Foxes. We'll see you next time on House of Dulo.